I'm Captain Eddie Castle and welcome to the shop. Today we're going to sharpen a pen mill. One of the guys at Watch wrote in and said, "Hey Cap, I like to do Freedom pens, my kind of guy. How do you sharpen up a pen mill?" I've had a pen mill which is used for trimming off the ends of the blanks for a couple of years, and it just seems like I'm working harder and harder to do it. Well, if you're working harder with something that cuts, eventually it's going to cut you. So let's talk about how to sharpen it up. It's relatively easy. There's no special tools required, and all it takes is a few minutes. So you know what you got to do now? Yeah, you got to watch. My dad always told me I was a good dead weight. In fact, he told me to see if I could find a career doing that. Just never worked out. But he didn't believe I'd be a good backdrop. How about, I should have changed shirts or put the smock on, huh? Well, this is a pen mill. I'm going to show you. The flute's a little chewed up. I guess that comes over time. The points are not too sharp. The cutters down here have been a little beat up. So I'm going to show you how to get it in shape. Let's break it down. You've got an Allen wrench in here. Now use a set of Allen wrenches that fit really well. And you may want to check around because this one happened to be from Penn State Industries, but it was metric. So we take it apart. Now when you first have it down, let's clean it up. I already did this one. I took a little bit of probably a 600 grit piece of cloth. Yeah, that's it, 600 grit. And I buffed it off just to clean it up, get the extra glue and all off. And then I took a little steel wool tight pad and I cleaned up the bottom. It's best if we have some clean toys when we start working on them. So, first, we're going to fix this. Now, if I can get in a little bit closer, you might be able to see that it's chewed up a little bit. You see how the flute just isn't right? Well, to fix that, we're going to use a rat tail file that was with the chainsaw sharpener. Now, that's really old when you used to use a rat tail file to sharpen saw chains. But I still have it, and I'm just going to dress it a little bit. It happens to fit. I look at the top. It happens to fit really well. Now, real life, I'd go ahead and put this in a vise, but I don't have a camera mount or a lighting where the vise is. Not this type of lighting. And guys ask me what I use for cameras. These are JVC Envirios. They run about $500 at Best Buy. And they record about 35 hours, which is really handy. I'm just going to reshape that flute a little bit. Now that's the first step. Next is the tip. We're going to take it over to the grinder on a 100 grit wheel and flatly go across the top. Now, I don't want to touch these sides. If I touch these sides, it's going to leave a little film as you go through. So I don't want to do anything to the outside diameter. I cleaned it up, I took the burrs off, I took the extra brass off, and some nicks and dents. That's all I want to do. Now, I'm going to go over to the grinder and just touch up the top of this. I'll show you when I get done. Now, there's the tip touched up. And it ended up putting some really sharp cutting corners on the very top and on the inside of that flute. A little bit of a grip. Now, it's going to have a little burr on it, and you may want to just take your 600 paper and knock the burr off a little bit. If you have too much of a burr, it's not going to go in a tube really well. But if you change that outside diameter too much, it'll slide in the tube, but it'll bind up. That might be a problem if you've touched this before, if you've rubbed it on the same paper, if you clean brass off. If you get brass on it, just get it hot enough, and the brass you can scrape off with some type of scraper or a heavy knife or something. Alright, now, that's the tip. The tip is essentially done now. Let's talk a little bit more about this cutter. Now, to do this cutter, it's a little bit different. How can we say it's different but the same? These top flutes, you shouldn't touch. You shouldn't try to dress up these flutes. Why? Because you're going to get them unbalanced. And if you get them unbalanced without having specialized equipment, it's going to cut funny and catch and jam. And it's going to make you work harder. what you want to sharpen is the back of this flute. You see this? Let me see what we're looking at here. We get something up to point with. You see, this is the back flat edge. You have 4 of them. The back flat edge, right there. Now we're going to touch those up, and it's easy. What is that going to do? Well, when you sharpen it up, that edge is going to be this edge on the other side, and it will put a burr there and help you cut. How are we going to do that? Boy, that's the simplest one of all. We are going to get junk out the way. Right? Diamond stone. Red by DMT. Don't know what grit it is. A little bit of water. Just because I don't want it dry. Now, I'm going to put my flat down on that edge. Now, let's see if I can get this in the right spot to where you can see it again. We have to take a second to do this. There we go. Now, can you see what I have here? I've taken that flat, rolled around, put it down on that stone, and I'm going to sharpen. Now I'm bearing down as I'm coming to me and just riding back as I go back. Letting muscle memory take care of everything. Now, what I have done is, see it shining there, see it shining? I have retouched the back, which puts me a great edge on this top right here. That is this. So I have put a great edge on it by sharpening the back. And I'm going to do the same for the other 4. Remember, muscle memory, out, pull to me. Pull to me. You're not lifting up on it. You don't want to change the profile. You don't want to taper the edge. You don't want to change the shape. All you want to do is clean it up and sharpen it. Step around to the next one. You are moving a little material that wouldn't hurt if you put a little lubrication. I got to be honest with you. This stone's rather old, and that edge is done a lot of times like this, so it might not be the best sharpening stone in the world to do this on, but I am getting a heck of a cut right there. So we can spin it around. Sure, we get a little lubrication. I also clean this stone with a little WD-40 or mineral spirits or any other cleaner every once in a while to make sure there's no glue or anything up on top of this. Now, those top corners, I'm out of camera, aren't I? Those top corners are all pretty sharp. I think you'd be really happy with that. Clean it up, and we put it back together again. You can catch on when you took it apart. That set screw's falling on a flat of that bit. This is 7mm. Now, you may want to have that stick out a little bit more. If that'll go 2 1/8 or 2 1/4 if you're doing 2-inch Freedom Pen bits. That way you go clean through. You don't want to go too much past the end of the bit, but you do want to push the junk out. Set that screw. Make sure you're right over that flat. I wasn't the first time. Took a little look at it. I want to be right over the flat because I don't want it to chatter and I don't want it to slip. That's where I want to be. Well, there you go. That's how you sharpen a pen mill. Don't mess with the flats. Don't mess with the diameter. Touch up the tip, touch up the backs. Clean it up a little bit, And this thing will work like a charm. I just saved you from buying a new one and from forcing the other one to cut, which you were going to thank me for one day. Hey, that's what it's all about. Making shavings. Oh, I did say something about Freedom Pens. Let me do a little quick rewind. Yes, I did say Freedom Pens. Yes, let's talk about that. Freedom Pens. Over 125,000 pens have been turned by the Freedom Pens group and sent to the young men and women, even the older ones, who are supporting our nation abroad. That's right. They have an ugly job. They volunteered for it. They're doing a great job. They're where I would be today. But we have to take care of them, folks. Man, we got a president that thinks he should buy their own health care. We got a Congress that thinks they're overpaid. We have people back home that believe they're just warmongering fools. Where you and I know the truth. They're young men and women serving their country, doing what they're told to do, and we can help. We can turn Freedom Pens and send them a gift from home. With wood from your neighborhood, wood from my neighborhood. If you'd like to get involved, contact me at eddiecastlin@cox.net or send me an email. Well, that'd be the same thing, wouldn't it? Yeah, send me an email. I'll put you in touch with the old Sarge. The old Sarge is a Bayou Wood Turner's solution to Freedom Pens. Sarge Joe Kelly handles our program. And he's getting turners in almost every single state in the nation to turn for our group. So if you can't find anything at freedompens.org, don't worry about it. And if you want to support us, let the Sarge help you. If you want to turn pens, let the Sarge help you. If you just want to be a friend of Freedom Pens, let the Sarge help you. Because besides buying kits, having blanks, turning pens, we still have to ship them to the troops. And that box is $15. Maybe your firm can step up and pay for one postage, just one time. Yeah, you see how easy it is? I just saved you from buying a new pen mill. You owe me, and you owe these young men and women more than you'd ever believe. Freedom Pens! Get involved today. I'm Captain Eddie. Thanks for tuning in and listening. I'll see you in the shaving pile. Freedom Pens! Come on. That is a good job.